have things we carry with us, burdens we don't talk about, the kind we've held onto for years. They could be regrets, fears, old habits, or even relationships that once brought us joy, but now only weigh us down. And despite knowing deep down that we should let them go, we don't. We hold on because it feels safer than stepping into the unknown. But here's the thing about holding on, it keeps us stuck. We cling to the familiar, to what once made sense, even if it no longer fits. We're afraid that by letting go, we'll lose something. But in reality, by holding on, we're losing even more. The chance to grow, to evolve, to make space for something new. I remember when I was holding on to this idea of who I thought I was supposed to be. I had this path laid out, this dream I had poured so much into. I told myself that if I just pushed a little harder, if I sacrificed a little more, I could make it happen. I thought that persistence would lead to success, but what I didn't realize was that I was clinging to an identity that wasn't mine anymore. The dream had changed, but I hadn't allowed myself to change with it. There were moments, quiet ones late at night, when I felt this deep sense of discomfort. It was like my soul was telling me I needed to let go, to move on, but I ignored it. I told myself that letting go would be giving up, that it would mean failure. And for a long time, I held on to that belief, refusing to accept that the path I was on wasn't meant for me anymore. It wasn't until I hit a wall, a breaking point where I couldn't push any further, that I was forced to let go. And you know what I realized? Letting go wasn't about losing. It was about releasing the weight that was keeping me from moving forward. It was about freeing myself from an old version of me that no longer existed. And in that moment, I felt this incredible sense of relief, like I could finally breathe again. The truth is, letting go is one of the hardest things we'll ever do, because it feels like stepping into a void, into a space where there's no guarantee of what will come next. But it's in that space, in that uncertainty, that real transformation happens. I used to think that letting go meant giving up, that it was a sign of weakness, but now I see it differently. Letting go is an act of strength. It's choosing to trust that what's ahead is better than what's behind. It's allowing ourselves to believe that we're worthy of something more, even when we can't yet see what that is. There was a time when I held on to a relationship long past its expiration date. It had been toxic, but it wasn't healthy either. We were growing apart, but I kept trying to hold it together. I was so afraid of what life would look like without this person that I convinced myself things could go back to the way they were. I fought for it, I compromised, and in the end, I lost parts of myself in the process. But the more I clung to that relationship, the more I realized it wasn't just about them, it was about me. I was afraid of being alone, afraid that without this person, I wouldn't know who I was. And that fear kept me stuck. It wasn't until I finally let go, when I allowed myself to walk away, that I started to rediscover parts of me that I hadn't seen in years. I found new connections, deeper friendships, and most importantly, I found my way back to myself. Letting go let me realize we're not meant to hold on to everything forever. Some things are meant to be part of our journey for a season, and when that season ends, it's okay to release them. In fact, it's necessary. But how do we do it? How do we let go of the things that feel so deeply rooted in who we are? It starts with recognizing what's holding us back. For me, it was fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. But once I identified that fear, I had to face it. I had to sit with it, acknowledge its presence, and then, bit by bit, I began to release it. Letting go isn't a one-time event. It's a process. Some days you'll feel like you've made progress, and other days it'll feel like you've taken a step back. That's okay. The key is to keep moving forward, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Because with every step, you're creating space for healing, for growth, for new opportunities. And here's the most beautiful part about letting go. When you finally release what's no longer serving you, you open yourself up to things you never imagined. You create space for new dreams, new relationships, and new versions of yourself to emerge. It's in that space, that emptiness, that you'll find the potential for something greater. Letting go isn't about forgetting or forgiving. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that's been holding you down. It's about making peace with the past and trusting that the future holds something even better. And once you take that step, once you let go, you'll realize that what you've been holding on to wasn't worth the wait. What's waiting for you on the other side is so much greater. We can't move forward if we're anchored to the past. We can't grow if we're clinging to what was. So, what's one thing in your life that you're ready to release? Maybe it's time to let go of that fear, that resentment, that version of yourself that no longer serves you. Maybe it's time to make room for something new. Because letting go isn't the end, it's just the beginning of something beautiful.